on you, okay? Based on you only. I don't hear anybody else coming out that's a law enforcement expert, someone with some significant experience in mass casualty incidents, saying, yeah, Mr. Halbig is right. Why haven't you found someone to substantiate your claims rather than going around there all by yourself, the Lone Ranger, saying these things? Well, you promised that you were going to have these people come forward. And what about these Connecticut state troopers that you said showed you the script? And I should tell everybody, right now, if you go to Veterans Today, there's an article about an 11,000-page script that Professor Fetzer says that Mr. Halbig is in possession of. It's still there in Veterans Today. And Mr. Halbig, in a YouTube video, I believe it was with Montegraph, if you go, talking about this, he says, well, Professor Fetzer screwed up. It wasn't an 11,000-page script. So, here we go, Professor Fetzer, this guy who's out there.
We're off task. How can we stay focused on Sandy Hook and how we responded to the tragedy?
This is a very important thing. This is a very important thing. We have Professor Fetzer and everybody else getting over on everybody because they don't cross their T's and dot their I's. Yeah, we have Mr. Fetzer, Professor Fetzer,
and he's not here to even defend himself. Keith, let's stick to what just stick to what he just said. He's not here to even defend himself. And you've put out enough accusations, I think.
On that morning, who were the first three people inside the school? Keith, it's your turn. Who were the first three police officers, and what time did they enter the school?
Well, listen, Halbig. We're not going to have you conducting some kind of quiz session with me.
Well, you're the expert. You're calling me a fraud, so I want to know how good you are.
Show you. The report, listen, you were saying that, well, who called these people dead? The report clearly shows that there were 2 New County ambulances.
Who were the three first police officers inside the school, and what time did they enter? It's called tracing the footsteps of an active shooter mass casualty event. Since you say I don't know what I'm talking about. Who were the three first law enforcement officers who entered the school?
You're not going to quiz me and start running. We're not going to run a debate here.
That's what this is. It's a debate.
Well, I just want to say something real quick. Keith, if this school has been in operation, there would be work orders. And what state secrets are going to get spilled if they show Mr. Halbig the work orders, which he's requested through the Freedom of Information Act in Connecticut?
Well, hey, I have absolutely no, based on Mr. Halbig's history of lying, who knows if that information was already sent to him and he's sitting on it. I don't know that for a fact. I don't know what the holdup is, and I don't know what the specific reason why they wouldn't do it. You know, there are privacy clauses in a lot of these reasons why they can't release specific kinds of information. That might be it. I mean, I'm just speculating. I don't know. I haven't looked into that specific thing with his Freedom of Information Act request. All I know is I haven't seen him post anything that looks anywhere near a formal request. Can you do that for us, Mr. Halbig? Can you?
Yes, I can. My attorney, I pay for an attorney through donations, and he has submitted
he hasn't
them.
done anything for you. He says you haven't. You said that he hasn't done anything for you. That you gave him $10,000 and he hasn't done a thing. So
no, we have not got any responses. Keith, call him up and have a conversation, would you? Instead of just running.
All right, well,
follow them up.
And let's move on from this. Keith, what are these? You seem to want to attack the investigators. What does Mr. Halbig have to gain? What do these other people have to gain by putting this information out there? This is, to say that either it didn't happen or no kids were killed or kids were killed by the government, however, or it happened exactly the way they said it did. To go through that, what do all these people out here have to gain to keep messing with the people of Sandy Hook after 2 years?
Well, because this thing is, okay, as far as getting into people's heads, I can't do that. All I can say is that I know that Mr. Halbig has been caught in so many lies. But as far as other people are concerned, okay, why are they doing this? Because they're under the false impression that there is significant evidence to conclude that this was some kind of false flag operation. And they keep passing this information along from one person to the next. Every time there's a shooting, within minutes, people say, oh, well, this has all the hallmarks of a false flag attack, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I mean, that's the question. I can't climb into people's heads, but I do believe that there is this general distrust, and this is the fault of the government. It's the fault of the mainstream media for, fostering this type of, contempt for the government. I mean, they deserve it. They really do. But the thing is we have to apply really solid investigative research into these claims before we go out and make wild accusations. People need to think for themselves, just like in this video, they make that claim. You really need to look into these. So, like Tyranny News Network, I could just give you one example. In this new video that they have, where he's wondering why there's so much activity.
Why are we talking about a video, Rob? I thought we were going to talk and debate the facts about Sandy Hook.
Hey, you know what? I have not interrupted you when you're talking. I'm trying to he's asking about what's the motivation for this. Well,
yeah.
I could speculate a lot of reasons. I mean, just for the fact that people put comments on your articles is enough to lift your spirits with a lot of people. So it could be recognition and fame. A lot of people monetize their YouTube videos. They're getting money off of these things. They make DVDs. But I think the vast majority of the people really are under the impression that this really was a hoax, and it's based on bad information. So they pick it up and then they throw it out. They make their own video, and it's just basically a regurgitation of something that's already been debunked. And then, I come across it, and I look into the information, and I find out where it's bad, and I write an article about it, or I'll talk about it. So, I mean, as far as the motivation, who knows? I mean, that's all. That depends on the person you're talking to, I suppose.
Rob, can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Halbeck,
well, hold on. Are you finished, Keith?
Now, I'm going to say that I was a school administrator. I know I'm a fraud, but I'm going to say that I was a school administrator for many, many years. And I have to say this on behalf of Don Hochsprung, who supposedly was the principal and was shot on December 14, 2012. I can tell you this with certainty. Being a female school principal, Dawn Hochsprung, would have never, ever in her lifetime allowed her school, Sandy Hook Elementary School, to look so filthy and so deplorable on December 14, 2012. She would have never in her life ever allowed her school to become a toxic waste dump, exposing every one of her children and school staff members to serious lifelong health risks. All you have to do is look at the crime scene photos. It's not Wolfgang saying it. When you look at those pictures, the doors are rotten. It's filthy. They got mold, mildew. Look at the outside. It's deplorable. And they called that a Vanguard school. And people moved to Newtown, Connecticut, just so their children could attend Sandy Hook Elementary School. I'm going to tell you what. There isn't an elementary school principal in the United States that would ever allow his or her school to be that filthy.
Well, and I got to say this, Keith, I asked you about the surveillance video. Why don't they just release a frame? And you said they had a system, but it didn't record. Who sets up a security system that you can't record in? I mean, I've never even heard of that.
Well, okay. When my son was going to school not too long ago, his school didn't have any security cameras, and I know that.
Right, but when they set up cameras, they always set up a recording system.
Okay, but the thing,
because it's worthless to have.
This is how it worked. This is how it worked. You go up to the door and you push a buzzer, and the person on the other side, inside the school, looks on the video monitor and sees who it is, verifies who it is, and buzzes them in. Okay, there wasn't a recording feature. I mean, asking me why there wasn't, I can't tell you. But all I can say is there wasn't a recording feature, and that's what it says clearly in the report. So we don't have video footage of Adam Lanza going into that school and shooting those children. We don't have that because it didn't have a recording feature. And it was installed back in, I believe, 2006. And Mr. Halbeck even said that he received some information or some documents which show that it had a strike plate and video camera installed sometime in 2006, I believe. That's what he said. Isn't that correct, Wolf? That you did get something back?
Well, you know, okay. Keith, thanks for remembering that. But see what makes it so unique? I did get something stating that that system that they have was installed in 2006. But what makes it ironic is the fact that all the major newspaper talked about the next day how the principal, Dawn Hochsprung, installed a new security system inside of Sandy Hook. And she made all the parents aware of it through newsletters and letters to the parents at home. So my question was, what was the new security system she installed? And you know what? To this day, nobody will tell me.
I will. I'll tell you. Okay, first of all, you're talking about an article that came out in the Quran, which was on the day of the shooting. And this is just another example of why you can't believe the mainstream media. They make mistakes all the time. And if you look at they said this section says principal outline new security procedures at Sandy Hook Elementary School. That's the title of the article. If you read the letter itself, it says our district will be implementing a security system in all elementary schools as part of our ongoing effort. Okay, implementing a security system. That's not installing a security camera, that's implementing a security system. And they go on to say what the system is, where you'll be required to report directly to the office and sign in, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes on to say, you have to understand with nearly 700 students, okay, they didn't have nearly 700 students in 2012. That makes more sense for 2010 and 2006. So what it appears to be here, because the Quran just simply came across this on their website. There's no date on this. There's no date. There's no letter. I mean, if you can find a letter that says 2012 with her signature on it from this, then I'd like to see it. But there is no date on when this specific thing was drafted. It looks like it was recirculated every year, every school year, just sent out so that they were reminded of the security system instead of writing a new letter. That's the thing. It doesn't say anything about installing a new security system. It doesn't say anything like that.
Keith,
I mean, they were only like...
Keith, let me ask you, there's one thing you didn't respond to. Now, you talked about you're a parent and you have a child, okay? Knowing that the Sandy Hook Elementary School on that day was so filthy, so deplorable, it's a toxic waste dump with high levels of lead paint throughout the school, high level of asbestos, insulation, ceiling tiles, floor tiles. It has the highest level of PCP. Are you telling me that you allow your child to attend that school?
Okay, well, you know, this is based on, I mean, you say your safety. I don't discount the fact that you are, that you have experience in that school safety. Listen, I do not discount that one bit, but that's not the issue. As far as whether or not the school was clean or whether it was dirty, it could very well be that that school was in deplorable conditions. Okay, so what does that prove? That it was a hoax because it was a dirty school? I mean, we do have pictures of children that were in there with T-shirts. I mean, I've seen photographs of children in that school with T-shirts that say 2010 on it, or 2009, 2012. From the website that they were walking down that school. The thing is it was in operation. Whether it was a dirty school, whether that was an issue, I don't see how that works into the whole conspiracy theory. I mean, if that's, and I would like to say this before I forget. I am all for Mr. Wolfgang Halbig bringing these things to court. I wish, oh God, do I wish that some judge would entertain your evidence to bring it into court, and you can present your case to a jury, and the state can bring their witnesses, you can bring your witnesses. I wish that could happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wish it would, so we can clear this up once and for all. So you can go up there and say, well, the school wasn't in operation because it was too dirty. Or because, you know, if you go to the Wayback Machine, it shows that there was no activity, even though that's already been debunked. Just, you know, look up Sandy Hook analysis, CWA.
Keith, you notice that I don't worry about the Wayback Machine. I don't talk about things that I can't. I mean, I can only talk about facts, and that's when the school is so filthy. That's why you want to have work orders. If that school is so filthy, that deplorable, and then when you saw the report that went in front of the city council, Pat Leorta, whatever her name is, and they had to pay $2 million to have all of that toxic waste, trans